Hi everyone, Fenris Models here, and today we're going to take a look at the F-16CN Aggressor Adversary from Tamiya in 1/48 scale. Now, those of you that frequent my channel know that I'm generally more of a prop aircraft modeler as compared to, doing jets. But the recent builds of both the Super Hornet and the Eagle, as well as the F-14 that I haven't finished building yet, but I have started, have got me, thinking maybe I should go ahead and round out the Teen Series fighters. And so I went ahead and started looking for an F-16, and I came across this kit. I really like the different schemes that are included in this. Again, I know it's because it is Aggressor schemes, but there's just something about them that they're just different, right? They look really nice. So I grabbed this one, and yeah, how about we go ahead and open up the box and take a look at what's inside. Alright, and there you go. As you can see, we have 9 sprues of plastic here. We have actually 2 sets of clear plastic, some polycaps, we'll take a look at those in a bit, our decals, and our instruction manual. So let's go ahead and start with the instructions. And the first thing I will note right off the bat is that Tamiya does have this as an actual booklet for once, as opposed to the multi-sheet fold-out, which I very much appreciate. I would much prefer Tamiya do it this way, because then, it only takes up this much area on my desk as opposed to, all the area. So we have on the front here a little information on the F-16, as well as our recommended tools, and then of course the cautions and our required paints. Now this it does look like it's a lot compared to most kits, but if you do remember, there are 3 different schemes on the front there, and all of them use multiple colors, but I don't think really they share any colors outside of, the basic gunmetals and such. So it looks like there's a lot more paints required than are necessary. It does look like they do have a detail up part set as well, some PE, but I do not have that. I don't tend to do PE, so that's not going to be part of this one. So, and then we have our 4 different options. I didn't realize there was 4. I thought there was only 3 based off of the box, so I guess there is a 4th one. We'll take a look at that when we look at the paint call out. But yeah, so from there we start with the cockpit. Actually seems to it's only it moves on from there, so it's only, what is that, 9 parts. Pretty simple for a cockpit. We have the main landing gear well, if you're going to be doing this landing gear down, and putting everything in that fuselage there. And we have attaching the upper fuselage, followed by building that engine and attaching the nozzle, and our wing undersurfaces. And it does look like there are, depending on which type you're going to be doing, looks like there's a lot of variation here, so do make sure you know ahead of time which scheme you're planning on doing. I would recommend coming in with a pen and just annotating these up. It never hurts to, write in on your instruction manuals, circle things that you might miss. In the case of option parts like this, highlighting and crossing out stuff that you either need or don't need, respectively. Same with these wheels here. You can see that looks like there are different landing gear structures, so depending on if you're doing A, B, and C, or D, make sure you're doing the right landing gear. As well as attaching it, it looks like there's some more variation there. And even the air intake, and I'm guessing this has to do with whether or not it is the guessing a lot of the variation has to deal with whether or not you're doing the C or the N, although it is interesting that B and C seem to swap on sometimes. Sometimes you'll see B and C with A, sometimes you'll see it with D. So again, just make sure you know which of the schemes you're planning on building before you start assembling. And I'm looking at this, looks like it really only has instructions for doing landing gear down, so if you're like me and like your landing gear up, you'll have to see how well it takes to the modification, I guess. Putting in the flapperons, and that is more parts for a vertical fin than I think I've ever seen on any kit before. It does look like you need to make sure you drill out a part on it. And that's what, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts for the vertical stabilizer for the vertical fin. So that's that'll be interesting. Ah, there we go. There's the instrument panel. Okay, so as you're building the instrument panel and the seat, as well as painting up the pilot, much later on in the build, I was wondering, I was like, that cockpit felt like it was too few parts. This would be why. And then we have painting the canopy, or masking it, I guess, as the case may be, not necessarily painting it, but, and the nose cone. I do appreciate that the nose cone is 2 parts, as opposed to 1 giant part. That'll make that a little bit easier to apply and get nice and clean lines on. And then here we go, and again, this looks like this is detail up parts, but there you go, differences if you need those. And then our pylons, missiles, I think those are what, the Sidewinder, ACIM pod, we have the jamming pod there, which again, it does look like A and B, actually it doesn't look like B has anything on it. A just has that jamming pod, C has the jamming pod, and I guess that's a dummy missile. I would hope that's a dummy missile. And same with D, although it does look like a little bit different. And there are a number of not used parts in this kit, so that's good for those that like to have parts for kit bashing. And then here in the paint call out, we have, now this one has that big fold out bit that Tamiya does that I don't fully like, but here we have Scheme A. This is that black and white one out of Alaska. And then Scheme B. There's the side and the top and bottom, and I believe this is that blue and white one. Scheme C, this is the green and brown that we saw on the front of the box there. And then Scheme D, I'm not 100% sure. It's a little bit hard to tell with the colors like this, although there are 4 different shades that I see on there, so it's, I imagine it's another variation of the green and brown. Alright, and then we have our decals here, and they're, you know, Tamiya's normal fare, so they're a little bit on the thicker side, but not terribly thick. Yeah, there we go. You can see just how much they are raised up off the backing paper, but it's not terribly bad though. I've definitely seen worse from Tamiya, but anyway, we have I think there's 2 of the schemes on this sheet, and then included is another smaller sheet, which maybe that has 3 of the schemes, but I do see some of like the seat belts for the pods and for the Sidewinder, so this might just be the kind of generalized, although there was definitely stencils in the other one, so I'm not sure actually. Now onto the parts, and I'm not going to take these out, but we do have these little polycaps in here along with some pins, and I'm not really sure what these are for. I didn't fully see them in the instructions, although we did only look real fast. They might be for the landing gear, so the wheels can spin if you wanted to. I don't actually know that, I'm just guessing, but, and on to the parts. And as Tamiya usually does, we got some pretty good detail on these. You can see there. Lots of rivet detail. It's not super deep. Not as deep as I would usually expect from Tamiya, but it's not bad. It'll definitely hold some wash when we get around to doing panel lining. And here we got some gear covers, gear bay covers, some of our wing parts, and our, or not wing, excuse me, vertical stabilizer, horizontal stabilizers. There we go. And here's our engine nozzle and engine, along with all of that landing gear. And the front of the fuselage. Let's flip that over for you. I think that's the air intake, actually. These would be the part of the front of the fuselage, but this is the air intake. Alright, we got parts for the cockpit here. There's our instrument panels that come at step 20-something. And our fuselage proper. There are a lot more parts in this kit than I fully would have expected, but it's not a bad thing. We got our munitions here. And it looks like there is technically a second sheet of it. However, the second one also does have our ejection seat and pilot. Not sure, because we have another nozzle and air intake. Unless this might be a variance piece again, like depending on which of the versions you're building. Looks like there's some different parts, so this may be. I wasn't fully paying attention. The air intake I think was different on the D as opposed to the A, B, and C. So that's what I think this is. So yeah, make sure when you're going through the instructions and you've chosen the one you want, make sure you're snipping out the right parts. Some more munitions. I believe this is the jamming pod. And some of the other landing gear parts, as well as our nose cone. Alright, and then we have 3 sprues of clear pieces. This primarily looks to be things like glass for the landing lights, for our heads-up display, that sort of a thing. And then we have 2 parts for the canopy. But what I like about this kit is not only do we have these parts here, but they've also included this one. Now, it's not... You can see it's a little darker, a little more kind of smoke to it. It's not a huge difference. It probably could be like a little bit more darker, a little bit more reflective, but I do appreciate that they kind of gave us this option, this choice. And I think I will actually be using this this darker one. I think that it looks a little better personally. So yeah, that was a real quick look at Tamiya's F-16C Aggressor Adversary in 1/48 scale. Yeah, I'm interested to build this one. I think I'm going to be going with this scheme. I have built a F-16 from Academy. I think it was 1/72nd, and it was this blue scheme right here. But that kit was rough, and it wound up becoming a paint mule. I'll phrase it that way. The Academy kit was not great. I had some issues with some things, like the nose cone, which is part of the reason why I appreciate this coming in 2 parts. The fins are another one that are going to, I think, be much better on this kit. We'll phrase it that way. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Do you think this looks like a good solid kit? Is it something that you would consider picking up? And in the meantime, stay safe and keep modeling. Thank you, Cali Bear, and all of my starter set patrons. Your support is invaluable and keeps this channel going.